vendor and employer audits for compliance visibility and adherence to regulations. Payroll and Social Security compliance. Automate payroll processes and generate UANs and IPs with our SS bot. Risk assessment and training. Assess compliance risks effectively and keep stakeholders informed with targeted training programs. TrustComp offers risk mitigation, operational efficiency, data accuracy, cost savings, regulatory readiness, and data-driven decision-making. These benefits ensure compliance while allowing you to focus on strategic growth. TrustComp is powered by a cloud-based multi-tier architecture. With open API integration, robust data security, and scalability, the platform seamlessly integrates into your existing systems while maintaining optimal performance and security. We prioritize security with features like encryption, multi-factor authentication, role-based access control, and secure APIs. Our platform is compliant with global data protection standards, ensuring maximum data security and privacy. In this case study, a government-owned utility company faced severe non-compliance across 2,400 plus vendors. TrustComp implemented a self-funding audit model, achieving 100% vendor compliance, cost reduction, and streamlined payment processing with QR code integration.
TrustComp's self-funding model significantly improved our compliance process by shifting responsibility to vendors. QR code integration streamlined payment verification, helping us achieve 100% compliance while reducing costs.
Our cost structure is flexible and transparent, offering pricing based on compliance complexity, resource deployment, volume-based discounts, and add-on services such as training programs and system integration. Our project is divided into phases: needs analysis, compliance gap evaluation, project planning, technical setup, user onboarding, pilot testing, and full-scale deployment. Post-deployment, we provide ongoing support, including monitoring, technical assistance, and periodic reviews to ensure compliance remains effective and up-to-date. To move forward, schedule a free consultation with our experts or request a demo to see our solution in action. Sign up within the next 30 days to receive a 10% discount on your first purchase order. Act now to secure your vendor compliance landscape and ensure your organization's future is safeguarded from non-compliance risks. Contact Mr. M.V. Prakash, Senior Vice President at TrustComp, for more information. Thank you to TrustComp Private Limited, your trusted partner in cutting-edge compliance solutions dedicated to transforming regulatory adherence through innovative technology and deep domain expertise. Our core values, trust, transparency, and transformation, form the foundation of our commitment to ethical compliance and seamless service. We simplify the complexities of compliance, streamlining processes to ensure adherence without the hassle. TrustComp was founded by industry leaders. Mr. S. Dina Dayalan, chairman of the CEO group of companies with over 25 years of consulting experience. Mr. Anand Gopalan, managing partner at Advit Law Chambers and a renowned authority on labor law. Mr. PPK Mahindra, managing partner at JZ Tech, a technology expert driving compliance innovation through automation. Born from the convergence of consulting, labor law expertise, and technology, TrustComp delivers a powerful platform for comprehensive compliance solutions. Our proven track record speaks for itself. With over 7 years of compliance expertise, TrustComp has dedicated itself to providing specialized compliance solutions across various industries. Our team includes more than 60+ compliance specialists, each highly skilled and delivering top-tier, reliable service for every client engagement. We proudly serve over 100+ clients, ranging from SMEs to large enterprises, all committed to achieving regulatory excellence. Some of our esteemed clients are listed here. TrustComp offers a comprehensive suite of compliance services. Labor law compliance management, end-to-end solutions powered by expert-led automation. Compliance calendar, automated customized calendars for tracking critical deadlines. Registers, remittances, and returns. Effortlessly manage statutory records and ensure timely, accurate submissions. Licenses and registrations, simplified renewals, amendments, and licensing processes. Audits, streamline vendor and employer audits for compliance visibility and adherence to regulations. Payroll and Social Security compliance, automate payroll processes and generate UANs and IPs with our SS bot. Risk assessment and training. Assess compliance risks effectively and keep stakeholders informed with targeted training programs. TrustComp offers risk mitigation, operational efficiency, data accuracy, cost savings, regulatory readiness, and data-driven decision-making. These benefits ensure compliance while allowing you to focus on strategic growth. TrustComp is powered by a cloud-based multi-tier architecture. With open API integration, robust data security, and scalability, the platform seamlessly integrates into your existing systems while maintaining optimal performance and security. We prioritize security with features like encryption, multi-factor authentication, role-based access control, and secure APIs. Our platform is compliant with global data protection standards, ensuring maximum data security and privacy. In this case study, a government-owned utility company faced severe non-compliance across 2,400 plus vendors. TrustComp implemented a self-funding audit model, achieving 100% vendor compliance, cost reduction, and streamlined payment processing with QR code integration.
TrustComp's self-funding model significantly improved our compliance process by shifting responsibility to vendors. QR code integration streamlined payment verification, helping us achieve 100% compliance while reducing costs.
Our cost structure is flexible and transparent, offering pricing based on compliance complexity, resource deployment, volume-based discounts, and add-on services such as training programs and system integration. Our project is divided into phases: needs analysis, compliance gap evaluation, project planning, technical setup, user onboarding, pilot testing, and full-scale deployment. Post-deployment, we provide ongoing support, including monitoring, technical assistance, and periodic reviews to ensure compliance remains effective and up to date. To move forward, schedule a free consultation with our experts or request a demo to see our solution in action. Sign up within the next 30 days to receive a 10% discount on your first purchase order. Act now to secure your vendor compliance landscape and ensure your organization's future is safeguarded from non-compliance risks. Contact Mr. M.V. Prakash, Senior Vice President at TrustComp, for more information. Thank you. Private Limited, your trusted partner in cutting-edge compliance solutions dedicated to transforming regulatory adherence through innovative technology and deep domain expertise. Our core values, trust, transparency, and transformation, form the foundation of our commitment to ethical compliance and seamless service. We simplify the complexities of compliance, streamlining processes to ensure adherence without the hassle. TrustComp was founded by industry leaders. Mr. S. Dina Dayalan, chairman of the CEO group of companies with over 25 years of consulting experience. Mr. Anand Gopalan, managing partner at Advit Law Chambers and a renowned authority on labor law. Mr. PPK Mahindra, managing partner at JZ Tech, a technology expert driving compliance innovation through automation. Born from the convergence of consulting, labor law expertise, and technology, TrustComp delivers a powerful platform for comprehensive compliance solutions. Our proven track record speaks for itself. With over 7 years of compliance expertise, TrustComp has dedicated itself to providing specialized compliance solutions across various industries. Our team includes more than 60+ compliance specialists, each highly skilled and delivering top-tier, reliable service for every client engagement. We proudly serve over 100+ clients, ranging from SMEs to large enterprises, all committed to achieving regulatory excellence. Some of our esteemed clients are listed here. TrustComp offers a comprehensive suite of compliance services. Labor law compliance management, end-to-end solutions powered by expert-led automation. Compliance calendar, automated customized calendars for tracking critical deadlines. Registers, remittances, and returns. Effortlessly manage statutory records and ensure timely, accurate submissions. licenses and registrations, simplified renewals, amendments, and licensing processes. Audits, streamlined vendor and employer audits for compliance visibility and adherence to regulations. Payroll and Social Security compliance. Automate payroll processes and generate UANs and IPs with our SS bot. Risk assessment and training. Assess compliance risks effectively and keep stakeholders informed with targeted training programs. TrustComp offers risk mitigation, operational efficiency, data accuracy, cost savings, regulatory readiness, and data-driven decision-making. These benefits ensure compliance while allowing you to focus on strategic growth. TrustComp is powered by a cloud-based multi-tier architecture. With open API integration, robust data security, and scalability, the platform seamlessly integrates into your existing systems while maintaining optimal performance and security. We prioritize security with features like encryption, multi-factor authentication, role-based access control, and secure APIs. Our platform is compliant with global data protection standards, ensuring maximum data security and privacy. In this case study, a government-owned utility company faced severe non-compliance across 2,400 plus vendors. TrustComp implemented a self-funding audit model, achieving 100% vendor compliance, cost reduction, and streamlined payment processing with QR code integration.
TrustComp's self-funding model significantly improved our compliance process by shifting responsibility to vendors. QR code integration streamlined payment verification, helping us achieve 100% compliance while reducing costs.
Our cost structure is flexible and transparent, offering pricing based on compliance complexity, resource deployment, volume-based discounts, and add-on services such as training programs and system integration. Our project is divided into phases: needs analysis, compliance gap evaluation, project planning, technical setup, user onboarding, pilot testing, and full-scale deployment. Post-deployment, we provide ongoing support, including monitoring, technical assistance, and periodic reviews to ensure compliance remains effective and up-to-date. To move forward, schedule a free consultation with our experts or request a demo to see our solution in action. Sign up within the next 30 days to receive a 10% discount on your first purchase order. Act now to secure your vendor compliance landscape and ensure your organization's future is safeguarded from non-compliance risks. Contact Mr. M.V. Prakash, Senior Vice President at TrustComp, for more information. Thank you.
Good evening. It is indeed a big moment for labor laws in India. This codification of labor laws is a big event. So where does it take us? We have been talking about these codes from 2014. In 2019 and 20, we had the codes passed, but they were not notified. Now, thankfully, they have been notified. Today, this is not going to be a very long presentation. We do not propose to go into each provision that has been changed or what has happened with the codes in detail. But the idea is to give you an overview of things and only discuss about changes that's going to have an impact across the board, which is going to be significant for an employer. So we are only going to be looking only into those kind of changes that are very significant. So please don't expect us to be going into each clause by clause or section by section. That's not the purpose of today's presentation. We're going to be very brief, not more than 15-20 minutes. Just point out what is the big changes that's coming about alone. But if you already have any queries, or in course of things you have any queries, please do post it into the chat box. Our team will try to collate it, and we will try to make a FAQ for you, and we will try to share it with you at a later point of time. Yes, we will also be trying to share this PPT with you, with whoever is registered. Your email addresses should be getting this PPT as well. So what has been notified on 21st November? Queries are coming as to whether all the codes have been notified. Have all the codes then come into force? First, let's just look into the notifications as such. So if you look at the IR code, it notifies the entire code. It does not left out any provision. So as on date, the IR code has been notified in total. Next comes the OSH, same as IR code, notified in total. But when it comes to Social Security, a few provisions alone have not been notified. That is primarily because the EPF Act remains untouched. So whatever provisions with regard to Provident Fund that are existing, they continue, and those provisions have not been touched by the notification of 21st November 2025. So what has not been notified, as I said, are primarily with regard to the PF Act. And the application of Aadhaar has already been notified, so they are not, it's been notified much earlier, so that has not been done. In 2023 itself, these 15, 16 and 164 have been notified. And that's the reason why they have not notified this at this point of time, because in 23 itself, it has been notified. Then comes code on wages. Again, here, a few provisions have been left out. We will deal with that as we go down. So as far as the IR code and OSH code are concerned, all the provisions have been notified. When it comes to Social Security also, to a large extent, most of these sections have been notified, except that they have not notified the change to the PF Act. And as far as code on wages is concerned, again, certain provisions alone have not been given effect. What we need to look at the significantly, even at the start into this, is that there are repealing provisions under each of these codes. So as and when the codes are notified, some already existing laws, that's the 29 different laws that they seek to subsume under this code, they get repealed. To what extent they get repealed, what is the effect of the repeal, changes from each code to the other. So these are something, it's extremely legal nuances. I'm not again going into it. But as of 21st November, the 4 codes have come into force. Consequent to the 4 codes coming, most of the old laws that were there are deemed to be repealed and subsumed within these codes. Many have queried on the rules part of it, whether you would need to wait for the rules. On certain aspects, yes, you may need to wait for the rules, but then the substantial part of law is the code. And as things stand today, the code has been notified. The rules are more for purposes of compliance and for execution purposes. But the law as such has been notified on 21/11/25, and that is the effective date for the legal change. Yes, this leads to a lot of anomalous positions, which I shall try to explain as we go on. What happens because the old laws have been repealed, the new laws have been given effect, but there is no rules. So what happens to the interim period is going to be a big question mark. There are, as I said, just as much as the codes are new to you, the codes are new to the legal practitioners as well. So there are gray areas in this. So unless the government or the legislature steps in to provide for clarification. There are provisions under the code where difficulties arise, the government can clarify. So using these provisions, if the governments are going to come forward to clarify, till such time there is certainly going to be a lot of gray areas. There is going to be certainly difference of opinions, debates between all of us on different aspects. But one key thing that I would request and which I have been saying over the years is you may need to unlearn and then relearn the new codes, or rather learn the new codes. So you need to see the new codes with a different angle, and at not all points of time you can just fall back on the existing law, because the words used, the definitions used vary, and because very many different acts are sought to be amalgamated into one, there are bound to be problems in this regard. So the code on wages, when we look at it, these are the 4 acts that it seeks to subsume. So one point I was trying to tell you as to how anomalous the situation could be. With effect from 2011, the Minimum Wages Act is repealed. Let's just take the Minimum Wages Act to start with. The Minimum Wages Act has been repealed from 2011. Is that then the rates of minimum wages? No, there are no rates of minimum wages because the act is repealed. Whatever rates of minimum that was prescribed was under the old act. Today it stands repealed. They have not saved the existing rates of minimum wages till the new rates are fixed under the code on wages. So if you look at it, as on date, is there any minimum wage notification governing any industry? The answer may be a no. So these kind of anomalous situations have arisen because of this notification being done in a tearing hurry. When it comes to code on wages, queries have also arisen from all employers. What should be done next? The next question that flows, most people think, is that in terms of the new codes, if somebody's salary is 10,000, then the basic should be 5,000. People are under the impression that they will need to revise the basic wages. They need to increase the basic wages. That is not what the definition of wages requires you to do. Why do I say this? Yes, you may require to take 50% of your gross monthly pay for computation of certain benefits like gratuity, etc. But that doesn't mean you need to increase your basic wages to 50%. But this increase could have other impact in certain places. So all that you would need to do is to restructure. You would need to restructure your salary within the realms of the definition of wages with minimal impact. So that is what you may need to do. And when I say restructure, it doesn't mean that you have to increase your basic pay to 50%. Let me again say that 50% is the norm. 50% has been provided for, but in what context the 50% is required to be done is something that on a case-to-case basis you will need to see. The 50% will certainly have an impact on everybody when it comes to gratuity. Will it have an impact on Provident Fund? It may not have an impact. There are means to ensure that it doesn't have an impact. So this is something that we may need to work on. So when you ask what needs to be done on the wages aspect, you certainly need to restructure. You need to certainly do it at the earliest because the codes have come. To minimize your impact, the earlier the better, not wait for the next appraisal. The other major aspect concerns the splitting of minimum wages. Most principal employees are safe in this aspect. The problem comes primarily with contract labor. What has been happening is, assuming that a government prescribes the rates of minimum wages as 20,000 or 16,000, this is split and house rent allowance is paid, and the sum total of basic plus house rent or basic plus DA plus house rent is ensured to be equal to minimum wages. So most of your contract labor today has this as the rates of minimum wages. Once the codes, now that the codes have been implemented, and once you start to implement it, you would need to ensure that your contract labor, the rates of wages paid to your contract labor is not split. The sum total of what the government prescribes as minimum wages may need to be paid as basic. You cannot call it anything else, especially not HRA. So that's a big change that's going to come about, impact when it comes to minimum wages of your contract labor. These are concepts that are there on floor wage. So governments, this is more for the government, appropriate government to ensure that they don't fix wages less than what the central government prescribes. Then you need to make payments through checks or bank transfers. These are all going to apply even to the contract labor. Moving on to the Code on Social Security, first and foremost, as I said, various enactments have been brought within the scope of this. But when it comes to bonus, currently there is a uniform ceiling of 21,000 across the bar. But now each state government can fix the ceiling for bonus. ESA Act stands repeal, but similar provisions are going to be brought in across the country, applicable across the country. It's not going to be like area wise, region wise, needs to be notified. And especially for hazardous industries and places, so ESA Act is going to be made applicable, but in a new form, not in its existing format. The EPF Act is not being repealed, so it continues to be on the books. Even as on date, you will continue to pay EPF as it is. When it comes to gratuity, many have queried saying that once a person completes 1 year, he would be entitled to gratuity. The position that you need to complete a minimum of 5 years to be eligible to gratuity remains unchanged. It is only for fixed term employees alone. Changes have been made providing for gratuity even if they work for 1 year. So please don't think your normal employees, even if they leave at third year or fourth year, they will be entitled to gratuity. That is not the change that has been contemplated. That's not what the code provides for. Again, I'm not touching much on gig workers, but this is a new scheme that is likely to be brought about by the governments in course of time. IR code has a few changes on its. I'm told that the slide is not visible. Just 1 minute, please. Let me just correct that. Um, I hope it's better now and you're able to see the slides. Um, so these are the four codes that are subsumed under the IR code. There's a lot of issues on this aspect as to um, how these are getting repealed as on date. One of the significant changes comes about with regard to fixed term employment. We've already had a lot of queries on fixed term employment as to how many persons can be engaged as fixed term employees and what is the percentage and things, which we would need to wait more for clarity on those aspects. A comprehensive definition of industrial dispute comes about, which includes all individual disputes. Uh, a new concept of negotiating union or negotiating council comes in. So if there is more than 51%, then that union becomes a negotiating union, and as an employer, you would need to recognize that union. So it becomes mandatory recognition of unions. So that is something that the IR code brings about, which is a significant change. If there are more than one union and none of the unions enjoy majority, then comes in the concept of negotiating council, and how the negotiating council is to be formed, etc., are given in it. I'm not going today in detail with regard to that, but these are two new concepts that come in. Strike, the way I see it at least, going forward, there cannot be a legal strike. Any strike could only be an illegal strike, because that's the way I feel that the provisions have been now amended under the new IR code. So strikes would all be illegal, because once there is a conciliation, then the strike becomes illegal. Therefore, the chances of a legal strike looks to very remote to me at this point of time. Disputes between trade unions or any disputes with regard to elections of trade union leaders, etc., these can also now become an industrial dispute. These will also go to an industrial tribunal for adjudication, not to a civil court or anywhere else. So that's a change that comes about with trade unions. And a significant change is that the labor courts go, and industrial tribunals with two judges are to come in. So everywhere it is going to be tribunals with two judges going forward. Definition of workers is there. The only small difference in the definition under the IR code and the code on wages. Sorry to pause here for a minute. The codes, all the four codes, have both the definition of worker and employee. Therefore, please see which is the word used whenever you're going through a section, whether the word uses employee or worker. If you look at the term worker under the ID Act, or rather the IR code, supervisors drawing more than 18,000 is excluded, whereas under the code on wages, it is more than 15,000 are excluded. So there's a small change even in that definition under the two codes. Your threshold for closure or retrenchment increases to 300. We need to see if state governments are going to make amendments to bring it back to 100. Trade union recognition, which I already touched upon, makes it mandatory going forward. Your existing cases, all cases pending before the labor court, gets transferred to the industrial tribunal to be headed by 2 judges. Moving to the OSH code, the starting point I would say would be of issuing of an appointment order. So appointment orders become compulsory. You may all think that you're already issuing appointment orders. Yes, but appointment orders by your contractors also become mandatory. I say this because the definition of contract labor also has undergone change. It's again a big topic for discussion, and it's a definition. So if a person is given appointment orders, PF, ESI by the contractor, and he is employed normally in course of the regular business of the contractor, then uh, he would not come within the definition of contract labor. So this is going to be a big shift in the definition of contract labor. So I'll just give you one example on that before I quickly move from the definition. So you let's assume you are into manufacturing of something, a product, and for your manufacturing you want a software company to help you, and the software company sends 20 or 30 of its engineers who normally do the programming to your factory. These persons today may be required to be enrolled as a contract labor, though they are, regular employees of the software company. But going forward, they are already employees of the software company. They were not recruited for you. They were being given appointment orders. They've only been asked to work in your place for a project. The definition as it stands today, my understanding is that it may not come within the definition of contract labor. So that is the big shift in the definition of contract labor. Women in night shifts, already provisions are there, but now with the consent subject to certain other restrictions, women can be employed. The next big thing which comes about is annual health checkup, especially for those more than 40 years plus. So this is going to be adding to the cost of complaints going forward. Daily hours of work, Factories Act provides even for 9 hours. Though there is a lot of debate going on saying that the current code provides for flexibility and more, I find that somewhere if you already have a 5-day, 9-hour working week factory, I'm not talking of shops and commercial establishments, a factory, that could be challenging now because the OSH code talks of only 8 hours of normal work. So anything beyond 8 hours appears to be a overtime under the OSH code. So it tends to more move towards 8 hours, 6 days a week, 48 hours a week concept, not 9 or 9.25 hours, within the 5 days working week. So that I'm not sure as to how that's going to come about with this change. This is something you may need to do immediately. You may need to take consent of your employees to do overtime. So as and when you want them to do overtime, you should ensure that you have a consent of the employees. So before that such a situation arises, you would need to get the consent today. If you're a large organization and you cannot get it from each employee, but if you have a trade union and you sign wage agreements, the wage agreements can have a clause saying that as and when required, the workman agreed to do overtime hours. So you don't need an individual consent from each employee. But otherwise, you may need to get an individual. Earned leave eligibility was 240 days. That's been brought down to 180 days. So if in a calendar year a person has worked for 180 days, he shall be eligible for earned leave. More on the complaints aspect of a grievance redressal. All the codes are going more with fines with less of imprisonment, especially the first time offenses, and also provides for compounding the offenses. You don't need to go to the court, you can get it compounded with the concern officers. So, this is the summary of whatever these codes have done. As I said, I'm not touched upon each of the provisions today. That's not the purpose of this. The purpose of this meeting is I'm assuming that most of you are aware of the issues. So, what is it that you need to do immediately? Please take it that the codes have already come into force. Please don't think that the rules are awaited. The rules is more procedural. It's for implementation. The significant part is the code. The codes set out the law. Laws have been notified. So yes, you would need to act as per the codes. There is going to be some gray area on this aspect, but then yes, you would need to do as per the code. So following that, what is it that you very immediately may need to do is to look at your wage structure, see how you can structure your wages. I repeat again what I said earlier. The code does not require you to have your basic wages at 50%. But at the same time, it may require you to reckon 50% for the purposes of certain benefits. So, for instance, in PF Act, the ceiling is only 15,000. So, if you're paying over and above 15,000, that's fine. You don't need to ensure that you pay PF on 50%. That is not the law. That is not the requirement mandated. In any event, today the PF Act still continues. Therefore, that doesn't arise. Second, the impact is going to be primarily on gratuity and maybe to some extent on overtime and earned leave. I'm sorry, I think I got logged out. I think I'm back again. So what you would need to be looking at is to how to restructure your salary and components, especially your monthly components, whether you'll be able to push certain components to a quarterly basis or on an annual or biannually basis to reduce what could be 100%, and from there ensure complaints and you don't have a larger impact on primarily on gratuity and earned leave. Others are manageable. These two are what is going to be there. The next is, I said, overtime, please take consent of your employees. I find again in the chat box many queries on gratuity. Gratuity 1 year is only for fixed term employees, not for a regular employee who leaves in the 3rd year or 4th year. The requirement of 5 years in gratuity is very much still there. So it is not that the Gratuity Act of 5-year requirement has been done away with the courts. So these are some significant changes which we wanted to point out, and that's the reason why we had this webinar. Again, I'm sure owing to certain technical issues, some of you could not have got everything that is there. Do please post your chat box. We'll have the chat box open for some more time. And we will try to answer. I'm sorry, I'm not taking questions at the moment, or I'm not going to get in because all of you have so many different questions. I don't think it will be possible to answer all your queries today in this short time. But certainly, yes, we will try to reach out to you with an FAQ on this aspect. So please do post your questions and we will try our best to answer to it in course of the week. Thank you all again. Do enjoy implementing the new codes. It's going to be challenging, but there's a lot of learning to be done, and that should be preceded by some unlearning. So first you need to unlearn your old code acts and learn the codes. Please look at it from the right perspective, with the right definition, with the right words of like employee, worker, etc. And good luck with your implementation. Thanks for joining. Thank you.